So then take the step back. You are...
This is a person who's already terrified of this whole, like...
Yes.
Machine and the way that that my personal life lands up in the public sphere is through a love letter. I was like, is this some kind of joke? You know?
Look, J-Lo just gladly gave it out, her love letters. But on a serious note, because you know you can laugh about it in hindsight, and the laughing is at how ridiculous that was. Like it is such a violation of intimate personal moments that now have brought you to be forced to be talking about intimate personal moments. But what started going wrong? Because you're now living in, I'm going to call it a bubble, while you're still doing your music, still doing your thing. What was the first thing that went wrong?
Busy. I was actually very busy.
Was it a tabloid? Was it somebody saying, Msaki, what is this?
Yeah, no, so very, very disturbing. But I think a series of events where... his place gets broken into by his ex. She trashes the whole place. And I was like, why? What's happening? Like, this
he was living separately in his
living
own
separately
place.
in his own apartment. And this lady's mom is one of my good friends. And she said to me when she found out about us, she was like, you just need to know, like, you just need to be a bit careful, because if anything goes wrong, you're gonna go down for this, not him. And she was right. And that's
what did she mean by that? As in, if it goes out publicly, like, or because of her knowing her daughter?
I'm not sure. I really never understood what she meant. But she was a beautiful person who was really just this never ends well for women. So just make sure that you're okay. I get it. I get why you guys are, I get why you guys connect. It makes sense. But so anyway, his place got broken into and trashed. I think that ended up in the tabloids because there's an article that precedes ours, and that's what happened. Physically, probably took the letters from there, but yeah, the source in the tabloids is an unknown source, But yeah, another thing that I've been recently, my attention has been brought to recently, is that they were still sharing a family calendar, which is what he told me. And so the whereabouts and the movements could have been tracked through the Apple family, whatever it is that they were sharing, and that could also show messages or whatever. So it's interesting because a Polaroid that was only between me and him ends up on like Daily Sun with the letter that was taken during the break-in. And I was just like, if your thing ended before I was in the picture, why would you go and conflate these timelines and make me the reason for the end of your thing? And I thought if that was the truth and how it happened, really malicious. And I was upset that a person would do that without thinking that they're tearing down a whole other person's livelihood. And for me, at the time, I processed it as like, I told my partner, and as much as he's not thrilled, he's not going to stand in the way of my potential happiness, because life is complicated and we're trying to get to a point where we're respecting each other. This is why I'm also telling him, because we have to co-parent. And I'm like, hey, there's someone in my life, I don't know, it might be something, it might not, but it's happening, And it was a courtesy to let him know. And obviously he also was like, are you saying, are you saying? And I'm like, yeah, actually. So when he went and said, and he did the same, my assumption was that she probably didn't take it well, that he's moving on and that he's potentially happier or whatever, and this is why this is happening.
So when you discovered the tabloids that, letters are out, a Polaroid is out, what was like your question? Like, was it a what the F? Was that the conversation? Or were you still thinking, we're in this together? No, let's discuss our next steps.
We thought we were in it together. He got a message from a tabloid saying this. They warn you, apparently, sometimes.
Yes, apparently they'll say tomorrow there's an article coming out. Would you like to comment? Yes,
that happened to him. And we were together when that happened, and I was like, well, are you gonna say anything? And I think the stance was always like, I don't speak to media, I don't talk to tabloids, and I'm like, but this is going to come out saying that we've had an affair, and that's not, like, I'm not the cause for the and I think it was explained, and I understood it, that if you speak back to them, they'll have more to say. Are you trying to open this rabbit hole? Like, it's tabloids. And I was just like, this is difficult, and because it was sent to him and it was his story, because it's actually his marriage that I supposedly ended, was like, this is your story, get in front of it, you know? And my friends were furious. Like, my friends were, like, I had to stop them from going to break his knees, you know? Because they're just like, be a man, get in front of this. Like, how is this? And it came out. I think it got stalled by a week because they included the mother's name. And she's smart, and she went to them and was like, hell no. And so it got stalled, but I was just like, he's really not getting in front of this. And by then I had started organizing my PR team, my legal team, being like, no one's calling me to tell me, ask me if it's true. And it was just so difficult to know what to do because it's like, it's not my story, you know, but I'm going to get affected by it. And that's when I understood, like, this could be a mess, you know. When the story came out was just the beginning of the end. Like, I still have a sick feeling in my stomach, you know.
Is the sick feeling that you feel like he should have done something to speak up early on, and something being, you literally could have said, yes.
She's got nothing to do with this.
Yes, she's got nothing to do with this. The relationship was coming to an end. Anyways, I've already instituted divorce proceedings. Please stay out of it. As in, you feel like, yes, your things have fallen to the tabloids, but I am not the reason.
I was expecting at least that, you know.
Yeah.
And I think because it was all so confusing, and I also was just like, this is unknown territory for me. I'm not used to having to deal with the stuff. Maybe it's better to just keep quiet. Maybe you don't feel the fire. Maybe it's going to be gone. You rationalize all sorts of things. But the bottom line is I didn't get in front of it. And it started a raging fire. I mean, for me, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about the fact that, what if he loses his kid, you know?
In the process, yeah.
And part of me trying to assemble it, like, my own thoughts, thinking, do I say anything? Do I put out a statement? I remember even thinking, like, maybe we put one out together. Maybe like, all of those thoughts came up, and, you know, my legal team and my PR team was asking, like, can you ask him for, you know, paperwork, just to say when, just to kind of split the timelines and to make it very clear that months and months and months had passed before you even walked into this person's life, and that house had already closed itself, you know. And I remember just also feeling like it's really not fair for us to be having to share more personal information because of a lie, you know. But it also is difficult when the information could have found the public space because of a person in a personal space. So it was very difficult to make sense of, and I kind of had to just let it play out. And what looked like the higher ground was to just let the thing do its thing, because I was like, so then what do I say? This is not really my story. I'm living my life.
Because no media contacted you. No one was saying,
I wish they could have, because it affected
Msaki,
me.
is it true that you're having an affair? That wasn't what the story was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I would have said if the article had come to me. I don't know if I would have offered more information. Maybe there's true. It's all just like a little bit twisted. And I think for me, it's also like journalism. Can you do due diligence? Maybe there's a court document that the public court, court records are public. If you're going to break a story that's going to break a family and break a reputation, can you do? And obviously that's not going to happen. No tabloid journalism expects that level of integrity. I was looking at it from a moral space. I was disappointed on so many levels, but it was happening. And yes, I took responsibility for the fact that, yes, I'm in a relationship that's in a gray area, but we were honest with our partners, and I didn't hurt anyone, I didn't break anyone's home. So it's being reported as such, somebody could at least rectify that. If we're getting judged for being in a relationship while we're separated, I can take that. That was my decision. But being
the reason for breaking a home.
But being cited as the reason that a home broke down, that is not fair. That has got nothing to do with me. He knows it. She knows it. Why am I in this mess? And also, it's like tabloids know that we don't know anything about Msaki for 10 years. We just know that she likes writing songs. This is going to catch a fire. It's going to be clickbait. It's going to be... So that also just like my anger towards the whole like media machine was just like, you guys just break families and break reputations and don't care for the consequences. I even explored my options in terms of like suing them. And I went through so many things, you know, and obviously like a lot of people stuck with me, and a lot of brand relationships, a lot of personal relationships that I had so much support. But there's some people that were like, you know, I lost a lot. I lost like a lot that can be quantified, that I know of, that was in my hands at least 10 bar that just, you know.
So 10 million rands that you lost in the period of how long?
2 months, 3 months. And also some of them was like, because the thing starts affecting my momentum as an artist and my ability to even have energy to do those 7 shows I was doing in one weekend, we started, pulling back on some shows. If they hadn't paid a deposit, I cancel it. If I just started returning, because now there's this other thing to deal with that's taking me away from the essence of why I'm here, which is my art.